365 Sports.
Welcome back into 365 Sports Mizzou. My name is Davis Wilson, and we got another day talking Mizzou sports. Thanks for being here. We've got a couple things to go over. It probably won't be a super long episode because, there's just some tidbits to discuss. Missouri landed a new transfer. I'll talk about that in a minute. Missouri plays a basketball game this evening. I'll go over that in a little bit. And then we'll talk about the national championship game, which happened last night. Indiana won the national championship, beating Miami. We'll talk about that at the end. So we got a few things to cover. So let's get to it. First of all, Missouri's new transfer is a good one. He's a good one. Chris Graves Jr. If you missed yesterday's podcast, I went over this guy a little bit. I discussed him and said that I think it's very possible that he is the next guy to join the class. This morning, he makes it official. Chris Graves Jr., starting cornerback on Ole Miss last year, started against Oregon in the playoff game, played a lot against Georgia in their first-round playoff game. He started 9 games this season against Miami. Sorry, they didn't play. I think I said against Oregon, but they played Georgia and Miami. He started against Miami in the second round of the playoffs. He had a coverage grade of 73.9, was targeted 10 times, only allowed 4 catches for 26 yards. He had a pass breakup, did 7 tackles, which is a career high for him. Played 77 snaps, 45 of them were in coverage, and all but 3 of his snaps came from the corner. He was in the box 3 times. So he played a lot against Miami. He didn't start against Georgia in the bowl game, which Ole Miss won. He did not start that game, but he played 16 snaps. Was never targeted. And then throughout the SEC year, he kind of went back and forth, starting to coming off the bench and playing a lot. So this is an experienced guy, very, very experienced, coming off the best year of his career. Started way back in 2022. He started at Miami. He was a 4-star recruit. Excuse me. Still a little bit under the weather, so don't mind. He's from Fort Myers, Florida, went to Bishop Verot High School in Fort Myers. Committed to Miami out of high school. Played 3 snaps his true freshman year, and then transferred to Ole Miss, where he played 139 snaps as a sophomore his second year, 187 snaps last year, and this year jumping all the way up to 683 snaps. So a big-time contributor for them. He is the 216th best transfer. He's the 13th best transfer cornerback. He is the best cornerback left available, and he is officially committed to Missouri. I think I'm trying to remember how many that makes it for Missouri. I think that's 26 commits though. Yesterday we talked about it. Zach Owens committed yesterday, an interior offensive lineman from Mississippi State. CJ May, a young edge rusher from Louisville, committed over the weekend. They're now up to 26 commits. Chris Graves Jr. is a guy that will absolutely contribute to Missouri. He will start at cornerback for Missouri. And he might be cornerback 1 for this team. I mean, it's a big get late here in the window. They've got him in the fold officially. Missouri boasts the 23rd best class in the country, which is pretty good. I think you take that. 2 4-stars, 21 3-star transfers. So pretty good stuff. So now you kind of look at what the cornerback situation looks like with Graves there. Obviously, there are a lot of bodies there. They brought in a lot of transfers, guys that could play. But, looking specifically at the depth chart of the secondary, he does shake it up a little bit. I'm going to assume that Chris Graves Jr. is going to be one of your starting cornerbacks. So that leaves you also with Jaleel Florence, a transfer from Oregon, Sion Lalea, another transfer from Oregon, Elijah Dotson, a transfer from Michigan, sorry, and then returners like Nick DeLoach Jr., Cameron Keys, young guys, Jackson Gates, Ahmad Billings. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking Chris Graves is going to be one of them. I think it feels pretty good that Jaleel Florence is going to be one if he stays healthy. That's kind of the whole story with Jaleel Florence. He was great at Oregon when he was healthy, but just hasn't been able to stay healthy. So those two, I think what Chris Graves Jr.'s addition does is it allows a little bit of flexibility for Elijah Dotson, the cornerback, the secondary player from Michigan. He played all corner in 2025. But I think he was recruited out of high school as a safety. So I wonder if, obviously, you might feel better about him playing cornerback because that's where he played as a freshman this year. But maybe it at least gives you some flexibility to say we shift Elijah Dotson to one of the three safety spots if you feel good about Chris Graves, Jaleel Florence, Lalea, DeLoach to hold it down. If not, you keep Elijah there and you have a cornerback rotation of Florence, Dotson, Lalea, Graves Jr., DeLoach, Keys, which is pretty good. I mean, you're gonna have to sort out who the first and second strings are, but I mean that feels like it honestly feels like it could be an improved group over last year. It could be. I mean, if they all hit correctly. And then at safety, you're working with, of course, Santana Banner, who might move into the star position, the linebacker safety hybrid. You have Kinsley Lodor-Foston from Auburn at one of the safeties, I imagine. And then after that, it's CJ Bass, who returned after entering the portal this year. He's back. Trajan Greco, a young guy who's played sparingly the past couple of years. So I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but it gives you another body in the secondary, a secondary that absolutely needed bodies. So I think it's a good sign. And obviously we'll see exactly how it shakes out later, but a good get from Missouri. I get the feeling they're not quite done. Obviously they're still, if you didn't hear it yesterday, you can go listen. You've probably seen it on Twitter. Ole Miss wide receiver Caden Lee entered the portal. He's best friends with Austin Simmons, Missouri's new starting quarterback. Austin Simmons has been teasing his commitment for a couple days now. When he first entered the portal, he tweeted a smiley face and posted a picture on Instagram of the two celebrating in Ole Miss uniform. And then yesterday, he posted an Instagram story of the honeycomb cereal. And apparently, Caden Lee's nickname is Honeycomb, so I think he's maybe hinting at something there. So Austin Simmons seems pretty sure that Caden Lee is going to join up soon. So I'm going to choose to trust him. Again, there was a report after Caden Lee hit the portal that he would return to Ole Miss if Trinidad Chambliss returned. But I don't think we're going to get a resolution on Trinidad Chambliss very soon. I don't know. So Austin Simmons feels good about Caden Lee joining, so maybe we should as well. But that would be another really big get, a guy who could compete for your wide receiver one spot. So you add a cornerback one, you're working on a wide receiver one type guy. I think you definitely still need some bodies defensive line wise. You maybe adding an edge rusher, maybe adding a defensive tackle. Obviously Marquise Gracial is a defensive tackle, and then it's like, some younger players that haven't played all that much. Jalen Marshall, I guess, played a little bit. Elias Williams. Dante Simpson, a guy who they added from Miami. And then on the edge, though, you're kind of looking at Darius Smith, Longman Kitchen, DeMarcus Johnson, the huge 6'8" JUCO commit. So I think if you can add a defensive end and a defensive tackle that you feel like can crack the rotation at least, I think you feel really good about this window. A window that at first was frustrating to Missouri fans because they weren't hitting on the stars. But I mean, this to me is a, if they can close how you'd like them to close, I think it would be a very big deal. Just to take a look at some of the, edge rushers in the defensive line. You have an Ole Miss edge rusher, Prince Will Umana-Malin. I don't know where he's going. I think Missouri was connected to him briefly, maybe, but I don't know if that's going to happen now. Let's see. Let's see if I can find out anything about his recruitment. I really haven't been following along. Yeah, maybe LSU is a rumor. I'm not sure. Probably not Missouri. He's the number one remaining edge rusher. Number two available edge rusher is Damon Wilson Jr., who actually transferred from Missouri. And it would be great if they could bring him back, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I think you probably shouldn't get your hopes up on that. And then, the next best available transfer is a guy from Baylor, Kamaran Morgan. There's just not a ton. It's not a ton there right now, but I imagine they're going to do what they can to address that position of need. We'll see, though. I mean, you still have time to add guys, so see what they can do. All right, let's move on. Actually, no. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll move on. But first, we'll take a break.
NFL playoffs, let's go! All right, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, makes every moment feel bigger. In the postseason, the game shifts fast, and with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay right in the moment. Make every moment matter this NFL postseason with DraftKings. I am really looking forward to the third times the charm matchup with the Bills and the Patriots. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half, you still get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire half. Why bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your shot. Bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code ALLMIZZOU. That's code ALLMIZZOU to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Okay, Mizzou basketball. Let's talk about it. They are playing host to Georgia this evening at 8 o'clock on SEC Network. Missouri opened as a 1.5-point favorite. The line has swung 3 points in favor of Georgia. Georgia is now a 1.5-point favorite on the road in Columbia at Mizzou Arena. I'm not sure why exactly the 3-point switch. I don't know if Georgia had a player that was hurt that's now going to play, or if I think Missouri's healthy, so I don't know. Georgia coming off a 90-76 win over Arkansas. That was their last time out. Oh boy. I always get scared when my Wi-Fi goes in and out. Hopefully there's no buffering on your end. But yes, on the 17th, so that would have been Saturday, I believe, Georgia beat Arkansas in Athens 90-76. Georgia's leading scorer for the game and for the season is Jeremiah Wilkinson, a sophomore from Georgia. He's averaging 18 points a game, 2 rebounds, almost 2 assists, shooting the ball pretty well. He played at California last year, averaged 15 points a game. He transferred back home to Georgia, and he's leading the way for the Bulldogs right now. So, yeah, they beat Arkansas. Hold on one second. Behind the effort of Jeremiah Wilkinson. They're 3-2 in the SEC. They beat, like I just said, Arkansas. They beat South Carolina by 5. They beat Auburn by 4, scoring 104 points. Missouri beat Auburn. They lost to Florida and Ole Miss. So there's a couple opponents in common here. Auburn has played both Missouri and Georgia. Both Missouri and Georgia beat Auburn. Let's see. Georgia lost by 15 points to Florida. Of course, Missouri beat Florida. And then Ole Miss, both teams lost to Ole Miss in close games. So it seems like this, just based on that alone, seems like it could be a pretty interesting close matchup. Again, interested in why the point spread swung so much, but Georgia is a good basketball team. They're 28th in KenPom rankings right now. By comparison, Missouri is 55th in KenPom.com rankings. Net rankings, which is another way that the committee makes its choices. I think it uses KenPom and net. Georgia's 27th in net, and Missouri is 67th in net. So a little bit of a discrepancy there according to these websites, with these analytic guesses or whatever. In the most recent bracketology, which came out this morning at 7:30 Central Time, Joe Lunardi had Missouri on the bubble in the next 4 out rankings. So they are this lists them as the 7th team to be left out of the tournament. And it has Georgia as an 8 seed, squarely on, in the field. So this would be a big win for Missouri, getting a team over a quality opponent. But again, you never really know how Missouri is going to play until until it's out there and it's happening. Mark Mitchell leading the way in scoring for them. He's averaging 17.3 points a game. I've gotten to a point now with him where I just assume he's going to get his, and he's going to be a force, and he's going to be tough to guard and everything. So I think that obviously is something, but what I'm really looking for here is how Anthony Robinson Jr. plays. Yesterday, Dennis Gates in a press conference said he needs to play better. If he doesn't play better, we're in trouble. And I think that's really absolutely true. You don't hear Dennis Gates talk like that very much. I feel like for the most part, he's a very calculated and reserved guy towards the media. I covered him for a year, and he never really gave anything away to the media in the press conference things. And I think this is one of those times where it's a unique thing. He doesn't usually, single out a player. And I don't think he's doing it, singling him out, in a bad way. I think he's just trying to get the point across that Anthony Robinson, like I've been saying for months, is a crucial part of this team, and he has not been himself. He has not been the guy that we saw a lot of the time last year. He's not been that guy this year, and that completely changes my outlook of this team, because I came into this year thinking Anthony Robinson Jr. was going to be maybe the most important player on this team. I thought he was going to take a step and become one of those really fun college point guards where plays great defense, gets steals, gets assists, is able to shoot the three. And really that hasn't come together. He's continued to play good defense, and he passes the ball okay, but he played just 2 minutes in a conference game on the road in which Missouri was down. The starting point guard played 2 minutes in the second half, 17 minutes total. So I think that was a message from Gates. I think the press conference quote was a message from Gates. I would imagine that Anthony Robinson is going to want to come out and play pretty well. And if he does that, Missouri will win. I just, I'm getting to the point now where I really believe if Anthony Robinson is good and he, it's not necessarily that he has to go out and score 15 points a game, but if he can, shoot efficiently and kind of the offense can run through him, I think Missouri will win. I mean, it's just when he's good, it's a different basketball team. Other important pieces, obviously, Jaden Stone, a guy who's really stepped up since he's come out. Trent Pierce, another guy since coming back, has been awesome. Missouri has not lost back-to-back conference games yet. They've played 5 of them, and it's been win-win, loss, win-loss. So you're back at home this week against Georgia, and then they take on Oklahoma later in the week. But this is a big game. It would be a really great win over a ranked opponent. Like I said, top 30. Georgia's top 30 in both KenPom and net rankings. I expect Mizzou Arena to be rocking pretty good. I know that sometimes it's a little lesser on weeknights. It's Tuesday night, I think the first day of class. So maybe it won't be super raucous, but some of my best memories at Mizzou Arena are from games on weeknights. I remember one time last year when Missouri beat Alabama, a really good Alabama team. It was like 0 degrees. We got there a little late, so I couldn't find parking. So we had to go park at the hotel across the street, which is quite a walk in the 0-degree weather. It's freezing. There's snow everywhere. But we got in there, and it was like the coolest atmosphere. It was completely packed out. Like that place is really an awesome place to watch a game, even on weekdays. So I hope Missouri's fan base shows up, the students show up and everything. But I don't know what the weather's like in Missouri right now. I don't know if they've got snow and ice on the ground. They usually do it this time of year, but a lot of people made it to the Alabama game last year with snow on the ground. So no excuses. Hopefully it's a good environment. But this is a great spot for Missouri to be able to bounce back. Okay, I'll talk about that game tomorrow. The rest of this pod, I want to talk about Indiana winning the national championship. It's incredible. It's unfathomable that Indiana would be the first team ever to go 16-0 and win a national championship. I don't know if people can really grasp, especially like newer college football fans or whatever. It's hard to explain how incredible Coach Cignetti has been here. The year before he got there, Indiana went 3-9. The year before that, they went 4-2. Sorry, 4-8. The year before that, they went 2-10. That is a combined 9 wins and 27 losses in the 3 years prior to Curt Cignetti. They went 9-27. The last time they have won double-digit games before Cignetti was never. It never once happened before Coach Cignetti got there. And now he's done it 2 years in a row. Last year, they went 11-2. They lost in the first round of the college football playoff. But they reload in the portal. They get Mendoza. And they go on this incredible run. They do not lose a game. They dominate everyone in their path. And they pull it out against Miami last night. It's just incredible. It truly is incredible when you think of how meaningless this program was 2 seasons ago, that now they are on top of the college football world and are not going to go anywhere because they have maybe the best coach in the game right now. It's incredible. And I think, if there's anything that Mizzou fans can take from this, it is that it's possible. Indiana was in a worse spot than Missouri was 2 years ago. Missouri in 2023, remember, won the Cotton Bowl, went 11-2. That same season, Indiana went 3-9. It's possible. It's possible for teams like Missouri, for teams like Indiana. It's possible. As much as the NIL thing it has its problems and it has its drawbacks, and transfer portal, again, another thing that really does have issues that they need to figure out. Those two, excuse me, those two things, at the very least, they level the playing field a little bit, and Indiana has taken advantage of that. They have good NIL. They got some really great guys in the portal. They got a Heisman quarterback in the transfer portal. They brought a ton of guys over from James Madison when Cignetti took over. That worked in their favor, but the thing that works most in their favor is they have an awesome coach. And Drinkwitz is probably no Cignetti. It's incredible. Cignetti came out of nowhere, and his first Power 5 job, he's just, incredible and winning national championships. But it's fair to say that Drinkwitz is no Cignetti. But Drinkwitz is a really good coach. He recruits well. He really does well in the transfer portal. It seems like he's embraced NIL more than almost any coach, especially for the time. He was embracing NIL very early on, and I think that did him well. And he's taken Missouri to places they haven't seen in a long time. And I think if it should tell you anything, this Indiana run, I think it tells you that it's at least possible for teams like Missouri. And I think that was why I was rooting for Indiana, because you have an Indiana team that's playing a Miami team. Of course, Miami hasn't been the same Miami in over 20 years, but that's a blue blood that used to be a true blue blood program that recruits way better than Indiana, or almost anyone in the country. They have unlimited money, it feels like. I just think, despite the fact that Indiana was a 7.5-point favorite, despite the fact that they were undefeated, despite the fact that they dominated Oregon, they beat up on everybody they played leading up to this game, I still feel like they were the underdog because of just the history of these programs. And I think it was really fun to root for them because it gave hope to people, to fans like myself who, I don't know if Missouri's ever going to play in that game in my life. Probably not. But seeing that, at least gives you hope. The same thing with TCU a couple of years ago. I never thought I'd get to watch TCU in a national championship game. And I grew up a TCU fan. And, it just happens sometimes. It all comes together and happens. And TCU, obviously, a little different story than Indiana. But still, these smaller schools, these lesser programs are rising, and it gives hope for Mizzou. It gives hope for fans like myself and many of you watching, and I just think it was a great story. And it tells you that if you got the right person in place, which Missouri people obviously feel like they do, and if you get the right players, which Missouri tries to do, I think it's all possible. So, super fun to watch that team play. Now, are they the best college football team of all time? I will not go that far. I've seen some people try to make that argument. But it is a historic team, a team that will not be forgotten. And Cignetti is hilarious. His face that he makes is the best coach face I've ever seen. He's incredible, and I hope he wins a million more national championships. He's awesome. All that guy wants to do is coach football and drink beer. And what more does any man really want in their lives? I don't know. Also, another interesting thing is, Missouri was very much in on Fernando Mendoza coming out of Cal. They were, by many reports, second. They finished second to Indiana in terms of landing him. What if they, wait What if they wait on Prbula and end up landing Mendoza? Maybe this season goes differently. It's another thing. It proves that maybe you're just a player away sometimes. It's going to go down as a pretty fun what if. Excruciating fun what if. What if Missouri gets Mendoza? What if the Twitter account Mizzou Fan Club didn't prematurely post that Jaden Daniels was transferring to Missouri, and Jaden Daniels actually does transfer to Missouri? What if Jaden Daniels is Missouri's quarterback in 2023? What if Mendoza was Missouri's quarterback in 2025? Interesting what ifs. Missouri is hovering around the right guys. It's clear. Maybe Austin Simmons will be that type of player who can elevate them. Only time will tell, I guess. All right, that's all I have, though. A fun college football season wrapped up last night. Congrats to Indiana. It's awesome. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Missouri plays tonight, 8 o'clock on SEC Network. I'll talk about it tomorrow. Join me again. Thanks for listening today or watching, whatever the hell you're doing. I appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.
365 Sports.